Hello there, welcome to my reaction to FromSoftware's worst game, Ninja Blade, by Iron Pineapple. Kind of excited to see what Ninja Blade is about. Never seen anything from it, from Ninja Blade or from Kingsfield, but I am a FromSoftware fan, so I want to check it out. This was recommended to me multiple times. So let's watch, and before we begin, I'm gonna say I don't feel too good, so if I seem weird or react weird, I'm at fault. Like, comment, subscribe, let's begin.
Y'all remember Demon Souls? No,
No, I haven't
not
played
the
it.
remake, the original. This is
Also
the
haven't played
game
it.
that put From Software on the map in terms of mainstream appeal and led to their explosion in popularity in the gaming scene. Now, believe it or not, I'm actually a huge fan of FromSoft. I know, you never would have guessed. But yeah, ever since Demon Souls, they've put out banger after banger after banger. If FromSoft is releasing something, you can almost be sure that it'll be Game of the Year. Now, primarily for curiosity's sake, I've been digging through the
Dark
games
Souls
that
2.
FromSoft made before Demon Souls, because there's a solid 15 years where they were making games non-stop, but none of them ever really caught on. And that brings us to the game mentioned in the title of this video, Ninja Blade. This was the very last game FromSoft developed before Demon Souls, and it actually released just 1 week before Demon Souls came out. I think this creates an interesting what-if scenario, where what if Demon Souls never released outside of Japan? What if it never caught on? What if somehow Ninja Blade became more popular? This technically could have happened. We may be living in dark times, but it would be a lot darker if we were waiting on Ninja Blade 5 instead of Elden Ring, you know? So let's go back to 2009 and check this game out. But you know, I only know one way to go back.
My god, this video came out in 2020 and people were waiting for Elden Ring. A year and a half.
Back that far in time. Yeah! Before we jump into me explaining all the problems I have with this game, let me give a brief story overview. So in the distant future of 2015, some sort of zombie parasite outbreak has erupted in Tokyo. This is probably a bad thing, as there are now giant worms, flying hydras, and zombie helicopters just going at it. So it's up to you, the rookie ninja Ken Ogawa, to somehow save the city before it gets nuked as a means of limiting the spread of parasites. Things are going okay until your dad turns out to be secretly infected and then he stabs you. No worries though, you walk it off in a couple hours, then you just sort of run around killing various zombies and monsters. And that's what you do for the rest of the game. So yeah, now you're all set. Alright, so here's the deal. This game has a lot of QuickTime events. Now I want to repeat that. This game has a lot of QuickTime events. I think it has more than I've ever seen in any game, aside from maybe the shit that David Cage makes. Like honestly, if not for the rest of the game, I might consider this some next level satire or something. But no. In an interview, one of the producers of the game said, the main reason we use...
If it's more than Asura's Wrath, it would be weird, but if it's less, well, whatever.
QuickTime events is to maintain the flow and continuity of gameplay. We wanted to engage players to participate in the cutscene and not watch passively. Look, I understand the logic, but I just don't think it works that way when your QuickTime events are used so constantly and so haphazardly. If used sparingly at key moments, I think they can sometimes intensify an experience. It can heighten tension and really get the blood pumping. But that's not what's happening here. Instead of intensifying anything, it mostly just serves as an annoyance.
Asura's Wrath intensifying
of the mid to late 2000s, where it was very much the hot thing to do. All that being said, I'm still generally not a fan of QuickTime events, but I did want to at least acknowledge that there's a right and a wrong way to do it, and Ninja Blade does it the sloppy wrong way. And look, if you're going to insist on putting QuickTime events in your game like this, at least make it funny if you fail. Don't do what Ninja Blade does, where it just rewinds and makes you do it again. By the way, every time one of these sequences starts, it cuts to a close-up of your character's eye, like he's having some sort of That's So Raven vision. I just want to point this out because it's the exact same shot every time. So if you decide to play this game, look forward to that. But I don't want to be misunderstood here. While I find all this kind of irritating, the cutscenes themselves that are going on in the background are actually often funny as hell. Like, the game commits so hard to being over the top and stupid that it stops being bad and loops back around to actually being good. I mean, in how many games can you ride a motorcycle up the side of a building? That being said, the game does have some very awkward melodrama here and there that falls flat. So the overall experience is pretty inconsistent.
Okay.
Alright, I'm going to break the gameplay down into pros and cons. Pros, you have this one move where you can ride your sword like a surfboard. Cons, everything else. No, but for real, the combat and movement of this game is just a mess. So let me explain. So first off, the gameplay here is very much in the style of Devil May Cry and God of War. It's an action button mashing hack and slash. However, it really does feel like a poor imitation of these games due to how clunky it feels. Moving around somehow feels both slippery and sticky, like your character is covered in jelly or walking through slime or something. Like even from the footage alone, you can probably tell how off it looks. On top of that, most of your attacks have pretty long animations that can't be cancelled. This feels very out of place for a game like this, especially when most attacks won't stagger enemies, so you end up getting hit mid-swing quite a bit. In fact, I feel like 2 of the 3 weapons you get are fundamentally broken for this reason. You get a katana, smaller dual-wield swords, and a big greatsword. But the greatsword is by far the best because you can actually stagger enemies so you won't get hit mid-combo. Together, this all amounts to a sloppy imitation of better games in the genre, with balancing so poor that most of your moves are actually useless.
Okay.
So what does every third-person, melee-focused hack-and-slash game need? That's right, an on-rails turret section. The devs really thought, you know what this game needs? Not 1, not 2, but 5 turret sections where our ninja character is just on a machine gun. A couple of these stretch on for almost 10 minutes, and oh my god, they're awful. Like seriously, what is this? It genuinely feels like they sat around in a boardroom and had
just like one mission or 2 and that's it.
What's popular right now? Call of Duty, okay. Gears of War, okay. Battlefield, okay. I got it. Let's just do what all those games did and throw in a turret section. But for real, it really does speak to their confidence in the base gameplay that they felt they need to add sections like this to spice things up and keep people's attention. And hey, I get it. Sometimes if I feel like I'm losing people, I'll do the same thing. Like a really unnecessary edit to draw people back in.
Shit, I was losing it and I'm back in.
But especially action games, it can be really tricky. To make it good, you have to balance a lot of tough questions. Is the difficulty fun? How are attacks being telegraphed? Is the spectacle of the fight itself engaging? Now, I don't want to pretend that designing a boss is easy by any stretch, but almost all of the bosses of Ninja Blade exhibit one of what I would consider the worst design choices you can apply to your boss, and that's what I like to call the waiting game. What I mean by this is that the boss will continually swap between 2 states. In its first state, the boss is invincible, and you as the player simply need to dodge. In its second state, the boss is vulnerable, and it basically waits around for you to hit it. At its core, I almost always hate this design approach because it's too static, and switching between only defense and only offense is simply less engaging and dynamic than if you had to balance both at the same time. As an example of something better, take basically any boss in the Souls series. The pace of the fight is dictated by the player and how aggressive they want to be. You have to find openings on your own rather than simply waiting for the designated time where the boss...
What I like more is the Elden Ring design. Yeah, a lot of years passed since then, but what I mean isn't that the fight is dictated by you, but you still, like, you have to choose when to attack and when to dodge. But then you have staggers where your enemy is just staying there waiting for you to attack or maybe to do a critical move. Doesn't matter which one you do. They're open for your attacks. And that opportunity is created by you and not by waiting around for the phase to switch. Even though sometimes that does happen when it's like bosses open more after like a stronger attack, but that's also fine because it's just a couple seconds and it's not like you wait a minute until he switches phases and then they become just dormant, laying on the ground.
Boss will let you hit it. Back to Ninja Blade, these fights drag on with bosses that have more health than they really ought to, and the experience itself devolves into monotony where you spend 80% of your time just waiting and dodging very easy attacks. It's just not fun. But you know what is fun? This little fact. So there's this giant spider boss, right? I thought it looked sort of familiar, and it turns out I was right because it's actually the same base model as the armored spider boss from Demon Souls, but they just put more spikes on it. Kind of weird, kind of neat.
Same universe.
Man, this game is just really ugly, right? Like, I just needed some place in the video to say this. Like, damn, there's just not a lot of charm to this game's whole vibe. The color palette, the textures,
what is it, PS2, PS3?
It's just a lot.
Probably PS3.
There's this lack of polish and overall very janky feeling that permeates the entire game. And don't even get me started on the ninja outfit customization.
Oh, that
like, alright, you can wear the clown outfit, but is it really worth it if it makes your eyes bleed?
Yes.
Let's circle back to what I mentioned at the beginning of this video with how Ninja Blade and Demon Souls released basically at the same time. The timing of this is interesting because I feel like they're polar opposites not only in terms of quality, but also design and ambition. Demon Souls was unique, boundary pushing, and thanks to Miyazaki, it took lots of risks. It's qualities like these that made me such a fan back in the day. On the other end of the spectrum, you have games that play it very safe and mainly try to emulate popular trends of the times, and Ninja Blade kind of epitomizes that philosophy.
Being made
Most
too
of the
safe
game feels like it was just grabbing random game trends of the times and hoping they stick. So it's not just the overall quality and execution of Ninja Blade that I find frustrating, it's more so that it feels uninspired and soulless.
As a series.
And this is painfully obvious when it's measured against Demon Souls.
What I mean by that is that they made a couple good games and it's just were repeating the same concept, adding some things, but mostly being same. And I guess the fan base was dying out, so they went trying to do new things. Restarted the series with like Origin, and then Odyssey did the same thing again, and then the sequels tend to do that, but too many sequels will ruin the series.
Alright, I normally wouldn't highlight a bunch of technical issues like this, but there's just so many that I think it paints a pretty funny picture. I played the PC port version of this game because I wanted a higher frame rate than the Xbox 360 version, but that might have been the wrong call. So this happened literally every time I did this pole swing move. Enemies would get stuck in the ground pretty frequently. What the hell is even happening here? This whole section is just broken, I think. Running along and up walls was incredibly inconsistent and only worked about half the time. Attempting to skip any of the cutscenes would sometimes just crash my game. Anytime I quit the game from the main menu, my whole computer would crash. Sometimes the audio would cut out entirely, such as on the final boss fight, all sounds and voices just stopped aside from the sound of some wind blowing. Here's another funny story. I played this game on my wireless Xbox controller, and one time I took a break to get some food, so I turned off my controller, right? When I got back and turned it on again, every single button got remapped for some reason. Suddenly pressing the A button paused the game. I had to dodge using the D-pad, and I could only attack using the start button. It was just so on brand with the rest of the experience of this game, I couldn't help but laugh. Even better, I couldn't just quit and reload to fix this. I had to finish the mission like this because for some reason, there's no mid-mission checkpoint or save feature. Quitting would mean I'd have to completely restart the mission. I had other issues too, but I think this probably gives you an idea of the type of experience I had. I swear this game is cursed. Alright, I'm giving Mission 7 of this game its own section because I just need a space to like vent. This is very possibly the worst level of any game I've ever played. I think one of the things I hate most about games is when there's something that just feels like an absolute waste of time for no reason other than to just pad out the length of the game. That's exactly what this mission is. So this level is literally just a bunch of previous levels and bosses combined. Like they reuse the same maps and enemy layouts and everything, and you even refight multiple bosses. Alright gang, let's see who's behind this mystery. It was just parts of missions 1 through 6 all along. And yeah, on top of that, there's no context. The game doesn't even attempt to justify why you'd be revisiting these places or why these bosses are suddenly alive again. Even multiple QuickTime event set pieces are reused. This level just adds nothing to the game, and I felt myself just wasting away. I guess they had enough section. When it comes to shorter,
I guess they wanted the game to be a bit longer, but they had nothing to make it longer because they like finished the story and then just put a couple of shits in here and that's it.
Single-player games like this, I've just never seen such blatant padding. And I don't know, maybe they had a mission quota with Microsoft or something?
Yeah,
like,
something
I
like
genuinely
that could be
think
possible.
They had a week left to work on this game, and we're like, oh shit, we need another mission, guys. It's in the contract. So you know what, Cathedral from Code Vein? You have been dethroned as worst video game level. We have a new king in town with Ninja Blade Mission 7.
That's where I stopped playing Code Vein.
I'm sure all of you are extremely eager to
Not because
know
of
how this
Cathedral,
ends,
just
so let me fill you in. Alright, remember how I said your dad was infected and he betrays you? Turns out he infected himself on purpose so that he could gain access to the parasite hive mind. And with that, he could learn where the alpha hive was located or something. So he does this, but then finally loses control and you have to kill him. This is a very anime fight with acrobatics and some good old-fashioned Naruto cloning. But eventually, of course, you win. But wait, your dad gets absorbed and turns into a giant monster.
So it was him, I was thinking that's him.
So then you have to fight this version of himself too with some extremely riveting gameplay and another turret section. Yes. And I want to remind you that this is where my audio just completely bugged out, so all I heard were some wind sound effects the entire time. Finally, you beat the giant dad.
Devil May Cry 4 did.
Don't say that. You finally beat your dad, but it's not over. So you, for some reason,
giant
climb
boss
inside his mouth and then fight another version of him in some sword dimension or something. I don't know, man. I kind of tapped out at this point. But then finally you kill him and this solves everything with the parasites just melting away. So don't worry, now you know the thrilling conclusion. You're welcome.
Yay, that means there will never be a sequel.
Roll, I let out a sigh of relief. I was done, and the nightmare of playing this game was finally over. But that wasn't true. I wasn't done yet. I knew there was one big secret that I needed to get footage of. But the problem is that to do this, I needed to get all the collectibles I missed to unlock this secret door. And even worse, I needed to fully complete each mission to get credit for these collectibles. I couldn't just pick up what I missed and then quit back to the menu. All of this is just a long way of me saying I suffered quite a bit to get this clip for you guys, so please enjoy. I'll let it play out in its entirety.
Okay. It's the exact same rules from Dark Souls. Moonlight Greatsword! Is that what that is? Oh, the eye thing. Catch. What do you mean fucking catch? Oh, it's very Devil May Cry. But with quick time rewinds for no reason. Like, the music is very Devil May Cry, the action... Like, I imagine Dante picking up a new weapon and just trying it out. Like, destroying a demon gate, like in 4. Devil May Cry 4. And then putting it away and it's breaking behind, and it's exactly like Devil May Cry.
So yeah, if you had any doubts that this was actually a FromSoft game, there you go, the Moonlight Greatsword. And I think it's just genuinely hilarious that they turned picking up this sword into an elaborate QuickTime event. Bravo.
This what
this
creates
whole sequence just epitomizes what this game is going for.
The bed of chaos. This action created the bed of chaos.
Also, you can actually use the sword, which is actually pretty neat. It becomes the final upgrade of your greatsword, and you can even do special charge attacks that look very similar to how it looked originally in Kingsfield from 1995.
1995. Holy shit.
No.
That's when I was fucking
give it
born.
Like a 3 out of 10 if I had to give it a score, but it is still shocking to me that this was developed by FromSoft. And that's the thing, right? If not for the fact that FromSoft developed this game, I wouldn't be discussing it because it's simply an aggressively mediocre ninja action game that was pretty dated even for the time it came out. When I think of FromSoft, I think of a developer that takes chances with games like Kingsfield, Dark Souls, and Sekiro. If they ever miss the mark with something in their games,
Sekiro?
It's usually not because they're playing it too safe. Ninja Blade feels like it just tried to play it super safe with what was popular at the time, and the result is an incredibly unmemorable experience. This game came out the same time as Demon Souls, so again, thankfully we're in this timeline where Miyazaki is the president of FromSoft instead of some alternate hellscape where all we got is Ninja Blade 5 or something. If you do actually have any interest in looking into this game on your own, I highly recommend just skipping the actual game and instead just looking up a compilation of all the cutscenes, because they're by far the most entertaining part. Ninja Blade is no doubt a mess, but there still is something sort of quaint about looking at it all these years later. Thank you for watching, and check out my last video if you want to hear me talk about a far more interesting FromSoft game, Kingsfield.
Okay.
You know what's...
There is a... Yeah, the Kingsfield recommendation.
It's maybe a better use of time than playing some 3 out of 10 game from 11 years
Wait,
ago.
let me guess. Let me guess. Skillshare.
New skill. So thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this
Yeah,
video.
I was right.
Take a look at what I made thanks to a class I took.
Wow, incredible!
I learned some of the skills to do this after taking the motion graphics class taught by Gustavo Torres on Skillshare. With any class you'll take, they'll walk you through the whole process step by step and make it pretty easy to follow. If you want my personal recommendation of what to learn, I'd recommend checking out some classes on any type of software. If you've ever been curious about learning video editing, After Effects, animation, or really anything, there's some genuinely good resources here. If you've ever felt that itch of wanting to express yourself more creatively, Skillshare honestly isn't a bad place to learn the skills to do so. If any of that sounds interesting, check out the link in the description.
I want
and the first
myself a
1,000
drawing
people will
tablet.
get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. And yeah, that's it.
I'll
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Well, I'll draw. It's gonna be shit, I promise. The first Souls game, Kingsfield, 25 years later, but on recommendation it's the day of Dark Souls, the final Kingsfield. Okay, so it's about the last one. Okay. 20 years later, so. Is that Nero's voice? Damn it!
Need someplace.
I don't think the game looks that bad. When did it come out? Does it say it in the description? I don't want to Google it. That's Demon Souls. Alright. I guess it's the same year. So 2009. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad for this. 2009. I don't know. But the things that always I noticed when the first time he showed them for the character collecting things remind me of orbs, also from Devil May Cry. I don't know. Seems very copy-ish of Devil May Cry, as he noted. But yeah, that was an interesting dive. It's a great video. I enjoy Iron Pineapple videos, and if you enjoy me watching them, maybe when I'm not feeling like shit, tell me that in the comments, I guess. But for now, thank you, anybody who watched this. I appreciate it a lot, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye, have a great life, because one of us has to.